Taking it.
I know.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. We were just talking, Radavie and I, about how we had to persist a little bit and persevere in finding our schedules together, but we found each other in space and time this evening, and I am so very grateful to have you on today. So, one of the first questions that I love to ask people is just, what does it feel like to be in your body in this space and time right now?
That's a really good question. And coming from where I've come from through all of my experiences, I am blessed. I am totally at peace
Hmm.
because I live in peace, and in spite of the chaos that's happening.
Hmm. I love that I feel like what I've experienced of you thus far, even from our limited communication, is that balance of holding your own peace in the midst of what can often seem like a real absence of peace. I
Yes,
love that on your email, it says at the bottom of your email, devotion is gratitude for life as life presents itself in all forms. That is quite a thing to say. Would you be willing to talk a little bit about what that means to you?
and devotion. My whole life is really devoted to the divine. And I really want to say it does not not many of us wake up feeling devoted.
Yeah.
It's about stopping, pausing, and realize we're here for a reason.
Yeah.
And for me, I say we're here to learn, grow, and evolve. So
Hmm.
the learning many times is going through the difficulties, the opposite of what we really are. And what I mean by that is when we are born, we are in our innocence.
Yeah.
We're in our innocence. And people may not remember this, but many times I said to my clients, you had a sixth sense. You came in with a multidimensional understanding, and you can't be fooled. You're just innocent and you can't manage what's going on in front of you.
Hmm.
So that's where the learning comes in.
Hmm.
And learning, growing is like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this anymore. I need help because I'm falling apart or something. Because there's a wisdom inside, there's a light
Hmm.
that has never gone away. The innocence that you are is that divine essence.
Hmm.
It never goes away. And people think, oh, I'm alone, there's nobody. It's because they're living from this disturbed place that they learned and grew about the world, and it's your physical, and that's it.
Hmm.
So, so it's being devoted in spite of whatever there is, and you get to that place where you're living from your divine self, and you recognize the disturbance because you've been there,
Right.
and you're carrying both of them, but you are not that
Hmm.
conditioned disturbed self anymore. You feel a sense of gratitude to have moved out of that and now being able to be in service. This is what happened. You just serve, but the most important service you're doing is service to your divinity.
Ooh.
It's not just serving out there, it's
Hmm.
serving in here. And we're constantly at peace through that devotion.
Mm. Mm. What's coming up for me as you say that is how profound it is that you have come to this point in your life, given your early life and what you experienced early on. Would you be willing to talk a little bit about what those first 10 years were like for you?
Sure, sure. It was way more than 10 years too. But it, first of all, I had a podcast recently and I said, you know, my I chose the perfect parents. I chose the perfect place I was born because through that, I have come um, to live from from the agreement that I had before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And once, we get to that place where, okay, so my childhood was difficult because I was a highly sensitive person and
Mm-hmm.
empathic, and I didn't know that. My mother was the difficulty. So my mother, I was a breach, and it was very difficult for me to be here on this planet because this kind of breach is not the normal breach.
Ah,
And she had 3 days of labor, and I can understand that. But the midwife literally had to pull me out. Otherwise, we both would have died.
yeah.
So, I think the fear and the major disturbance that she was going through, she hadn't released it, so she released it on me.
That's right. You were the placeholder, the
I
object for which
buried
her to
the
process her
Yeah, but
trauma.
the
Mm-hmm.
placeholder, yeah, and I'm just little innocent, multi-dimension girl, and it was difficult.
Yes.
It was very difficult. And I walked away from all my childhood memories. I said, I am older now, so I'm not that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't realize, it was still carrying it, haunting me.
Yeah.
And it was when I was 40, yeah, 40, that going through a very major emotional relationship problem. I guess I was so weakened, so that the my little girl, 10-year-old, turned up in front of me. I could see her with my eyes open. She's the saddest face, staring me right in my eyes. And I wasn't impressed seeing her at all. And I
Mm,
just said, I don't care to see you. Really. And for 3 weeks, she stood there, never uttered a word. At one time, I really got upset and I said, leave. I don't want to see you. My God, I can't imagine I did that. And then finally I realized I had to connect with her.
wow.
That was the moment of my self-healing. I
Mm-hmm.
had to connect my emotions with the memory.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my husband is coming in, is making a noise.
It's okay. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
loud on my side. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. And so when the healing started, and I know I was guided because I was intuitive, I was guided, I needed to do it myself, not to go for anything because that's
Okay.
where the learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the learning was. And I began to understand very well what conditioning has done to humanity,
Mm-hmm.
how we were treated. And the thing is it could be as simple as a stare of disapproval from a parent.
Right.
The child knows exactly what that is. The
Mm-hmm.
child knows that's not love.
Mm-hmm.
And we shy away from anything that's not love because we're here to give love and receive it back. We're love itself. Our
Mm-hmm.
spark, our divine self is love itself.
Mm-hmm.
So we put on the masks and we survive and we do all these things that really covers over our essence.
Yeah.
And because I've gone through it, I've understand it, and I have helped many clients with that. It's my passion. My whole life is about helping people to come back home, you know, come back home. And since I have written the book, which is Awaken to Inner Peace in the Midst of Chaos, and freedom from freedom from human conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
which is yeah, and that book is it's going to be on Amazon on the 9th of April, so in a few weeks. So that's good, finally.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's really helping people to recognize themselves or we're out always going outside
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
seeking for something
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lack inside based on the condition, and we think we can get it outside.
Mm-hmm.
And, and if we do for a moment, it's just temporary.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really walking people home. I mean, I like that word, walking people home to say, it's inside,
It's inside.
not out there. And yeah, and there are practices for them to get to recognize themselves through these practices. So
And
yeah.
that coming back to yourself is something that, like you said, I think is planted inside of us that we come in with, that there's some sort of a knowing, but there's not a lot of teaching. We're taught by everything to go find it through a relationship, go find it through a job, go find it through your appearance or your career success or your children.
or
And
or or go get some facelifts and something so
yes,
you can look beautiful.
yes, yes. And I was thinking as we were talking, this picture is called Self-Love, this artist I
I've
love.
been looking at it. I was going to mention how beautiful that is, and I was drawn to it.
Yeah, it's the same being is hugging. It's that what you were given is the physical representation of there is the part of me that I haven't loved. And there's something that's so extraordinary about the willingness and the persistence of that part of you to show up and to not leave, even when you were rejecting that little 10-year-old girl. You were saying, get out of here, right? And she was so committed to you. What did that feel like to have? I mean, from the first moment of seeing her, what did that feel like? And then as you grew to have the willingness to get to know her.
Okay, I surrendered to the fact that she's not leaving, and there's more information coming that I have to connect with her, and that's where it started. Because the my like all of us, my soul's agreement before I came here, unknown to me, is that I am here to serve people in the way I have experienced my life. And a lot of
Mm,
people, they share and help people because of what they went through.
right.
So my soul's blueprint was the one guiding the whole thing. And all of us too, because there's nobody in the body. We want to tell people that nobody's here. It's the soul is our guardian. And sometimes we get a little, I get a feeling, to do something. Follow it. Follow it. You don't know them. It goes beyond the mind and the belief. Follow those guidance.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think was happening in your life when you were 40 that allowed for your 10-year-old self to make herself known physically to you?
It was a painful relationship. Painful. I wanted to hide. When you really in pain, you want to go into the smallest corner. That's what, yeah, that's what was happening. And I'm really grateful for that.
So in a way that horrible pain opened up and allowed for her to
Yeah,
make herself known.
yes, yes. You know, I have a sense that my soul projected her. I really do say, now is the moment we have to do this because there's an agreement that you have to get to. And you can't unless you clear out your childhood emotions.
Ah.
See?
Mhm.
And that's when I started helping clients for 30 years, doing the same thing with great success. And
Mhm.
I learned a lot from them, what they went through. So it was, yes. So that's why I could not go anywhere further.
Amazing, amazing. I love thinking of our soul as a kind of gravity that's always pulling us back to our soul and won't, like, it's an impossibility that it will give up on us. And that little 10-year-old self feels like that. It's like, I'm just going to be here. I'm going to be here until you get it. I'm going to come in this vulnerable place and I'm just going to stare at you with these
I
eyes.
know it's sad. Oh my God, I know it's sad. And and when we have that light in us that is already agreed what we're here for, there's so much help. There's and if we just listen to that quiet voice inside, we feel the guidance that is really different from being stuck in a dead end road, because of the belief and their ideas. So,
Mhm. Mhm. And I've long said, like, I wish that we could find the breakthrough without the breakdown, but it is true that so often it's in those worst moments that the guidance can actually be perceived. I wanna believe that that guidance is always here for us, but somehow in the brokenness, our willingness to surrender,
yeah,
is stronger.
yes. Well, consider this. If we were all love, and we're just feeling heaven and earth, would we evolve? Of course not. There was we don't care about anything. We just sit like that. We're
Mhm.
here to learn, grow, and evolve. We
Mhm,
really
mhm.
are. Otherwise, we wouldn't keep coming back. We would go back to the divine heaven, home, wherever it is, and just stay.
Just relax. So this next thing that happened on your journey is so interesting. So you had a couple decades of serving as a spiritual guide, of developing yourself spiritually, and then you had another visit from yourself, from your true self, that revealed to you you were in another iteration of conditioning. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Or you mean in the airplane, when I was in the airplane? But
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. So I love God because I learned about God when I was 4 years old, and that was inside there, held on to that, and so I lived a spiritual life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard of this teacher, and she's a channel teacher, and I I I went and I was like stuck to her because it was so awesome to me. And so we had a big group, and some of our group would get together, and we would talk about stuff and try to cipher out some of the things she's telling us.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do, I would be a vegan. I was a vegetarian, and I
Mm-hmm.
went to vegan. I juice every day. I drink distilled water. I do everything I'm supposed to do
Okay.
to, yeah, to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And finally she left, and it came to me that, wait a minute, we're just egoic individuals. If you're not following this path, you're not good enough. We're better than everybody else
Yeah.
because we're
Yeah.
following the right path.
Yeah.
Well, yes. And one day I thought, you know what? I'm stepping out. This doesn't feel right anymore. So I continued. I was always on the path, but this was a good learning for me. So time goes by, and I'm listening to the awakened teachers now. Now I was in the plane,
Hmm.
in flight.
Hmm.
I'm reading one of these awakened teachers' books, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, bang, right down the aisle, I saw my cloud self. And in that split second, I knew this is where the spirituality was coming from. It was a layer of my belief self. It was never me. So, what I really want to say to people, the word spiritual, we have to really look at it and define it clearly. If I am in judgment, if I'm in gossip,
Yes.
if I am looking at right and wrong, you're not spiritual. It's a belief self that's doing that.
Ah, I love this so much because it is so tempting as you go through your evolution to find and replace the old construct of good bad with a new construct of good
Well,
bad.
it wasn't over.
Every time I think, oh, I've liberated myself again. I've figured it out, right? And I wake up into a new version of right, wrong, good, bad, and holy, evil
That's
that I've
right. That's
attached
right.
to. And it's so tempting. It must be something. What do you think that is? What do you think that is, that like temptation to fall back into a new set of rules?
Well, we didn't completely move away from the room. This was another veil, I
Hmm.
think, because I was living for my belief self
Hmm.
still
Hmm.
unknown. So this was a grand awakening understanding. So after when that happened, I realized, oh my God, if all my life belief self is out there, then what is here?
Hmm.
I realized I was awakened into an understanding through my experience of what what this consciousness is. It
Hmm.
wasn't my belief self. But that's where purification begins also. Although I went through my own childhood healing, there was still more purification, not about my childhood anymore, but about different things that are happening or any beliefs that are still imprinted in. And
Hmm.
if people think when you're awakened, oh, you're just going to die, you're just in heaven now, that's
Yeah.
not quite true. There's still a lot of learning to do. And then I've arrived where I feel, inner peace. I don't have any thoughts about, yeah, I have an understanding of good and evil, but I'm not identifying with any of them. There's
Hmm.
no identification. Identification is when you have an emotional attachment or opinion to something.
Hmm. So do you still feel the presence of your belief self? Is she with you?
You mean the which one, the little girl or my essence, my soul's essence? Which one?
That one that was standing in front of you on the airplane.
Uh oh, that no, that was like a cloud-like form. It left me. It's a veil that just came off me. No,
So she was no longer
no
with
part of
you.
me. No, it just went away.
Wow. And what do you credit that to, or how did that come to pass? Because you
My,
said you were on that rule,
yes,
driven experience.
my devoted passion.
Hmm.
And I was now moving, reading the higher frequency of consciousness, meaning these awakened teachers. I
Hmm.
was really, that's all I was involved with. And so my my own beliefs started to change. This is what happened. We're more, I would say, good conditioning. We're learning from a higher frequency.
Mm.
And so I was moving into that mindset, a higher
Hmm.
mindset, yes. And I never looked back.
And
Mm.
these, how did you, and what were some of the things that you noticed that showed you that the difference between the awakened teachers and the ones like you mentioned, the woman who had the rules about the diet and the, et
Oh,
cetera, et
oh.
cetera. How
And
did you just
see the difference?
discern that?
An awakened teacher doesn't tell you what you should do. They open you to the I am presence within you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference. They're not telling you what you should do. Never, never do that. Like Eckhart Tolle, for instance, what a beautiful presence is, something like that. It's always positive love and teachings to hold you into remembering what you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So spending time with those awakened teachers through reading sounds like a
Oh,
really
yes. Or
supportive.
maybe on YouTube. Yes.
Hmm. What are the other things that you do in your day to day to support your connection with that I am presence, as you said?
I live in a small community in nature. And right now I'm looking out there and near the trees that I'm surrounded by nature. And the thing is, we're part of nature, and that's what I want people to remember. Not because I have a physical body and the tree is seemingly not saying anything. To me, there's a spirit within the tree as much as it is in me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And my plants, I call them my babies. And they know, I can sense them sometimes. They know when I move one plant somewhere else because I think it needs attention and bring it back, it's like, oh my God, did not realize that we're connected. So that love is always there. And
Mm-hmm.
what else did you ask me again? I wanted to say.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you do in the day to day?
Oh yes, oh yes, thank you. And so my mind, my thoughts are very loving thoughts.
Mm.
I don't try, it just is. That's where I am now. I walk downstairs in the morning and I'm feeling happiness for no reason. It's happiness inside. And mm, in the mornings I wake up, I'm so grateful.
Mm-hmm.
I really another day, another life. Life comes through me now, not at me.
Mm.
So, and then at nights I do the same thing. Okay, it's time for bed. What happened today? How I feel. Just gratitude within my own being. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always nurturing life,
Mm-hmm.
appreciating life.
Beautiful. And when you think back to that maybe 40-year-old self or even 50-year-old self who was now trying to be good by eating certain things or taking certain actions, that part that still was maybe scared. or worried or trying to prove, what would you offer that part of yourself from your now perspective?
Yeah. So I was doing the right thing outside of myself. See, that's the
Mm-hmm.
difference. We are listening to something outside of ourselves. Now my body will tell me what it wants.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been health conscious, and I do read, and if something intelligently makes sense, or what do I feel like today? What do I want? And so I have a really nice relationship with my body because there's consciousness in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in those times when maybe before there was not a what do I want, there was more of a what does the world want of me? Does that feel?
Well, yeah, and I'm thinking, I never really thought, oh my God, maybe what do I want today to eat? Could be my taste buds. Could be my
Mm,
taste bud that says, I really want this.
mm,
And when we know the difference between our taste bud and our internal desires, there's a difference. And when we learn about the right thing for us to eat, we can tell when the taste bud wants desserts or something, we'll know. So it's a constant learning, it's a
mm-hmm,
constant learning about how to navigate and manage and be kind to ourselves.
mm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that gentleness. I was thinking as
Yeah,
you were speaking about how this journey has been over many, many decades for you. And, I just turned 44. So I think about, I'm not that far away from that point that you were at your age
right,
when you
right,
saw that
right.
airplane moment.
Yes,
And there can sometimes in the earth realm, there's a perception of time and a perception of wanting to get to maybe to this awakened self, or to this even understanding that I have a believed self that I could let go of, or that I have all of these. There can be an urge to rush, to feel like I'm not there
I
yet.
have to. That's
Yeah,
the ego. That's the ego talking. That's the
yeah,
ego. Say, I have this thing, and I'm looking at other people. How come I'm not yet? And
yes.
I want to. Once we get in that state of need, we have really moved away from our heart space. That's need, and it's
Mm,
one thing I strongly know, and I've told some of my clients. You gotta let go of need for anything,
mm,
anything.
mm. How do you do that for yourself? How do you let go of the need when sometimes that need feels like such a real thing?
Okay, the need. There's a difference between, I would love to go out and have and eat. Where do we want to go? It's a very hard space. It's not, oh my God, I've got to go out there and I've got this special thing. And if I don't go to that restaurant, I'll be really disappointed. See the difference? If I
Mhm,
don't go to that because that's what I want, it's the way in which, oh, okay, we manage our feelings
mhm,
because the feelings is what really has the need, the desire, like, hey, and I said to my husband, let's go to eat. Where we want to go? And it's fun. It's like, oh, it's a chance now to be served instead of me serving
mhm,
myself at home or something.
mhm,
So I take that as the simplest thing. A lot of people may have a need. I want to get this job. I want to have a promotion. Before we know it, we get into such a stress. about what it is we want that we already not we don't have,
Mm.
that it is not a positive thing to do because we are contracting ourselves in the sense of need. Any need, there's a contraction.
Mm-hmm. So what do you mean by contraction?
There's a tightening in our body energy,
Mm-hmm.
energetically. We're tightened up, and we're not able to breathe breathe deeper, or we're stuck in our beliefs, and we get entangled up in our thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and feeling a little bit unhappy because why can't I have that? This person had
Mm-hmm.
got that. Why can't I have that too?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
many times that is caused from a lack inside,
Mm-hmm.
or really feeling about what we think we are.
Mm-hmm.
We think we're not good enough and we want more
Mm-hmm.
because we have enough. And I'll never have enough if I keep thinking I'm lacking until we go to that place where the lacking is resides.
Mm-hmm.
We have to, yes.
And to meet that part of us that feels like it's lacking, and
That's right.
then once you meet that, what is the opportunity there?
Awareness happens. And when we're aware, oh my God, this is where it came from. Oh my Lord. Because I remember once I was going through a deep healing, and there were doubts about something. Go and stay doubts. And I was going through this healing, and I saw like little stickers. You know how you write things on stickers?
Mm-hmm.
This was all black stickers sticking on me as a wherever in my life. Oh my God, that was talking to me. That's where the doubt was. Oh, you little. Once we become aware of what it is inside, is the first step to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that's why we should never give up and get into addiction to hide the discomfort. You have to
Mm-hmm.
embrace it. One of the best
Mm-hmm.
things we can do is to embrace that feeling.
Mm-hmm. Especially the ones that don't feel good.
Absolutely. Yeah. When it comes up and say, okay, I'm going to watch TV instead of, or I'm going to eat a pizza because I want to get over this. I'm talking about don't do that.
Yeah.
Say, okay, I'm opening my heart and let it come closer to me. Because the reason why we're feeling it is because it's being seen out there.
Mm-hmm.
And once we embrace it, what we're doing, we're opening our hearts to it. We're loving it.
Yeah, allowing that little sad 10-year-old to be a part of us and to
Yes,
understand
yes,
her and to
yes,
care for her and to
yes.
not reject and abandon her. And I hear from your journey that you saw her when you had the capacity to embrace her, you know?
Good point.
And you didn't see the belief self shed away on that airplane until you had the capacity to be able to let her go. You needed her for the time that she was there. You needed to try out the following the rules with the food and trying to be spiritual for such a time
Exactly.
that you needed to. And for those of us that need to say, I'm not ready, I need the piece of pizza, we need it until we need it. And I was involved in 12-step programs for a while, and you mentioned addiction, and they have a phrase, you can't until you can. And I think
Oh,
that's really lovely in a way, um to allow for the journey to take the time it needs to take.
Right, right.
To, let's say you had had this like fabulous wisdom to never get in this difficult relationship in your 40s, in your late 30s, then we don't know if you would have been able to be who you are now.
Absolutely. If my mother wasn't the mother to me, that oh my God, I detached myself from her. And now I thought the best teachings that I ever had was the ones that I had to experience.
Darn it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
that 10-year-old actually came for me to start healing
Hmm.
my childhood wounds.
Hmm.
So as soon as I went through all those years of healing, no, that had gone away. But now I moved into another frequency
Yeah.
where I now am open to spiritual, and I think I'm in the right path when,
Hmm.
when I realized, wait a minute, what are we doing? And I stepped back. And then I realized that all of those times of being spiritual was the veil that fell off me.
Hmm.
It was like a
Yeah.
cloud down the aisle. It was like a cloud of me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so obvious. And like a split second, I understood everything, that everything I was doing was from that belief system.
Yeah. Yeah. And in a way, like when you said you thought you were on the right path, in a way, it was the right path. The confusion, the mythology of the spiritual self, that was what is allowing you to be of service in another way
Absolutely.
now.
It was a major learning and an experience that was valuable for
Hmm.
what my soul's agreement was.
Mm. Hmm.
And that's why people should not be being upset. They shouldn't really, because you don't know, you don't remember what your agreement was. I didn't know at that time either. I didn't know. It was when I started getting the messages from the divine spark. I thought, oh God, I got this guidance. That's why I'm here.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's why I'm here. That's an agreement I had.
And your soul was very thoughtful because your soul gave you some pretty good, clear clues along the way. Not everybody gets to have these big visual
I'm
moments.
grateful.
Yeah.
And there are times when I was guided in certain things, like
Hmm.
I wanted to go to a real estate school because I love real estate.
Hmm.
And I went one day, bought the books, went one day. No, not making sense to me. On my way home,
Uh-huh.
on my way, I remember I'm ready to drive up my driveway,
Uh-huh.
and the screaming came, "You're jumping ship!" And I knew, don't do it. You're on the wrong path. That's not why you're here. That's not what you're. Oh yeah, that was one of the things. That's one of the things. And I had a couple rental properties, and one day I was told, you need to sell them. And I did.
Wow.
Never ask when I'm guided with anything. And I knew why now. I know why now. It would have been a distraction
Yeah.
to further expand why I'm here.
Hmm. Hmm.
And these are the most, to me, I want to tell your listeners, this is the most sacred moments when
Hmm.
you begin to learn and understand. And experience is where you gain wisdom.
Yeah, these moments that we think of that we're off the right path or that something's wrong or that we're
Yeah,
being punished, those are the real moments of grace and guidance and wisdom.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, well, as we come to the end of our hour, will you share a little bit more about your book and what your offerings are, how you work with
Oh,
people?
okay. My book, I'm really fully integrated with my book. I had no idea that would happen. But my book is sharing, explaining what conditioning and where we go because we're conditioned. Now we're
Mhm.
looking outside for uh, seeking on the outside. We're all seeking, and we're seeking outside, and we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it on the outside because everybody is seeking for the same thing.
Mhm.
Everybody is looking for happiness or looking for um, money. They think that money is the greatest value because
Mm.
I'm going to be happy and I can
Mhm.
get the dream house and so on. And sometimes that is nice, but I have seen and I've heard some people talk. Now I don't know who they are, but they said when I got all of that, I just realized something is wrong.
Mm.
Something is wrong, and I need to go find out what it is. Because they were
Mhm.
searching in the wrong place. So
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that abundance isn't there for all of us, but abundance isn't just about money
Mm-mm.
and being seen and being recognized. Abundance to me is abundance of the spirit within. Oh my gosh, when you have that, nobody can take it away from you. So let's focus on that.
Mhm.
Just open your heart and just let the light that's in there comes. So so that's that. And then the messages of the divine spark is in between all of that because the divine spark is really yearning to be seen because it's covered over by the
Mhm.
conditioning and it's
Mhm.
locked away. They told me, this is, in the book. And then there are parts where there are practices, freedom, exploration to
Mm.
look at and to and that in when they buy the book, I'm just saying there will be a link there to go directly to my website where I physically they see me physically speaking the freedom explorations, although
Ooh.
they're still in the book. So, when you hear something, it's so much easier than for you to be reading it. And then the last chapter is called Devotion.
Mm.
That So
Beautiful.
that
Beautiful.
yeah, that book is an evergreen because there are always people. So that is it, and I feel I was told by my guide, this is your last um, promise that you made.
Mm.
You got to the last one, and I'm thinking, no wonder I feel so integrated with the book because all my life's experience is really in the book. I
It's
mean,
the completion of it.
I didn't think of it before, but things come to me.
How beautiful. What an amazing feeling to be able to do that thing which you really came here to do.
And that's why I really want to encourage people.
Yeah.
You're not here to be exactly like me. You're here to be this beautiful being who just feel that happiness inside of you for no reason. That's a beauty. I mean, it's for no reason.
I love that. And so you also work one-on-one with people, is that right?
Oh, I forgot. Yes, I
Mhm.
do. And I'm going to do an intensive to where I have a group of people, but a small group each time, not more than 10, because I want people to feel safe to
Mhm.
to unzip because
Mhm.
we're going to really get to whatever is left in your conditioning that is still holding them. So it's all through the book too. And then, so that will be some series that will you in that.
Lovely.
And on my website, there's a little some free things on it,
Mm.
a few free things. And then there's a 20-minute complimentary that they can talk with me, whatever it is they have that they want to say or ask. Happy
Ah,
to.
beautiful. So I will put your website in the description, and then it sounds like on April 9th they can find your book on Amazon. So I'll put the name of your book and that information.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
You have the title of the book?
Yes, I'll put that all in the description, and then people can reach out to you if they'd like to. And I just so appreciate you for taking the time to share your story and your wisdom and your beautiful heart.
Well, see, it was so really beautiful. It was well worth waiting for.
I feel the same. So grateful for you. Okay, hang on one sec. I'm just going to end the recording and then we'll check in with each other.